What's up, everybody, and welcome back yet again to another drum playthrough review. Thank you all for tuning in and stopping by. Great to have everyone here. Thank you so much for tuning in. For everyone who's brand new, hi. My name is Nick. I'm a drummer and a multi-instrumentalist, and the reason why we do these videos is so that way we can take the technique from drummers who are better than us, nice, cool, professional musicians, break down their techniques so that way it's an easy to digest form for us to learn, and use that so that way we can become better musicians. And we've got a drummer who's really darn cool today, and I've seen him live before, and the dude is an absolute powerhouse. And his speed is off the charts. Crazy, brother. So I'm sure some of you guys in the tech death world have heard of a little band that's out there. You know, they're called Inferi. I've seen these fellows live back in October of 2022. It was during the Halloween show with Shadow of Intent. They were opening with Shadow of Intent, one of the opening acts. And it was pretty darn cool seeing these guys live because I had liked some of their music prior and I had been listening to them for a little bit. And then they finally played, you know, live in my area and I was like, dang, I gotta go see these fellas. Because as far as tech death goes, these guys are on top of the game. They produce some really good high quality music and I really like that. I've talked also with some of the members and they're pretty darn cool folks. When I saw these guys live back in October of 2022, I remember it was the Halloween show and everybody came out dressed in little uniforms and stuff like that, little costumes. And the drummer came out and he was wearing all the normal drummer stuff that he should be wearing, you know, like sleeveless shirt, shorts, you know, classic Vans sneakers, stuff like that. And then he decided for his Halloween costume to put on a flash hat, like a flash helmet, like one of those little rubber helmets that you get, you know, licensed from Warner Brothers and Marvel. And it was the funniest thing because he puts it on and I just hear people in the crowd, oh, if he's putting on a Flash costume, then he better be fast. He certainly did live up to putting on that mask. He was playing really darn quick on that show. One thing I hadn't realized is that they have drum playthroughs available online, and I think that's sick. This dude's name is Spencer, obviously plays for Inferi, the band we're reviewing today, and the song we're reviewing today is Mesmeric Horror. And I think this is going to be an absolutely sick playthrough because I've seen this guy live, I know what he can do, and I like Inferi's music. I think they're pretty darn cool, and I think this drum playthrough is going to give us a lot of excellent technique that we can break down. So without further ado, ladies and gents, let's jump right in. Let's take a look and see what this fella's got, and let's see what kind of technique we can learn and review so that way we can become better at what we do. Before we start though, I check my YouTube analytics as any good creator should, and only about 0.7% of you guys are actually subscribed to the channel. What are you guys doing with your lives? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. We do a lot of fun stuff and a lot of videos just like this on here. We're going to have a lot more fun content coming your way, so stick around. It's going to be a fun journey. All right. Well, without further ado, ladies and gents, let's get right into it and check out Spencer's playthrough of Mesmeric Horror. And it jumps right into it. Here we go. First things first, very nice drum kit. Very cool. Plays minor cymbals, very good taste. Very good finger technique as well. It's good French grip. And as we can tell, this guy is fast as crap. And you don't see drummers doing that at all nowadays, muting their hi-hat with their hand. That's something that Gene Hoglan would do, man. Dude's got some good calves on him there right there, too. You can tell that's all from the bass drum technique. Very good swivel. So he's just using the classic pressure swivel then for his hand technique. Or not hand technique, foot technique. Forgive me. Yeah, he doesn't look tense at all when he's playing this. He looks very nice and relaxed. Like, you can tell just by looking at his face, he's just focused on that metronome. And secondarily, if you look at his bass drums as well, you notice he's got pillows covering the whole thing up. It's just completely logged out with pillows. That's because more than likely he just triggers out his bass drums entirely, so there's no acoustic sound coming from it at all. Very good swivel technique as well. And his posture isn't too bad either. He gets a little hunched over with some of the other beats and, you know, techniques, but yeah, that's very good swivel technique. Very clean. He's keeping his foot pretty much on like a dime surface right there. He's not moving it much at all when he's doing the swivel. That's very good. Very clean. Switching to a triplet feel. And he's just using straight full leg motion with this one instead. So he switches up the vibe a little bit because it's a faster, the faster group numbings don't need to, you know, have the full leg motion on there. You can do something that's a little bit easier to do, like swivel. But when it comes to the slower groups, listen to me, I can barely speak English. When it comes to the slower note groups, he can do full leg motion and it's fine. Very nice modulation. I do like how he's using the toms a lot in the song, though. It gives it a lot of extra color. He's got a lot of good power on those fills. Very cool. Now look at him, he's putting so much juice into this last part of the song. Back to speed. Well, you'll notice too, when he starts to get into the faster note groupings, he switches back to finger technique and switches back to French grip. Whereas beforehand, he was using wrist technique. Wow. Absolutely excellent playthrough on his part. Very, very good job. Well done, well done. All right, well, let's break that down, man. Spencer's technique is very nice and clean. First of all, this video only has 4 dislikes. Absolutely reasonably understood. It's an excellent playthrough. If you look and take a look at his technique, when he's starting to get into the faster note groupings and whatnot, he's using a lot of French grip. He's keeping his arms flared out a little bit more when he's doing it, so that way he can go around the kit and use mostly his fingers and whatnot. And ideally, this is what you want when you are doing French grip. You may think it's a little strange and counterintuitive that the drummer who's using French grip has his arms flared out more when he's doing it, when he goes around the kit, because he's activating a much larger muscle group in his shoulders while he's trying to use a much smaller muscle group in his hands in order to get that speed. But this isn't necessarily counterintuitive at all. See, the thing is with it, when I was told about French grip and about how to, you know, properly utilize the technique and properly learn the technique, it was by the great Eugene Ryabchenko from Flesh God Apocalypse. And the way he described it to me was this. Imagine that you are giving, you know, someone a hug, a big old hug, right? You got to kind of reach around and grab him, right? But imagine that he's an exceptionally big guy, right? You know, whether he's fat, whether he's muscular, jacked, or whatnot. Just imagine you're having to give your exceptionally large friend a hug, right? You got to reach all the way around him. Now imagine at the same time that you're giving your large friend a hug, he asks you to scratch his back because he has an itch around his back. So you're trying to reach back there and scratch his back. You see where I'm going with this? I'm going around to reach around and give this guy a scratch on the back. You see where this is leading to right here? So yes, you are utilizing your larger muscle groups such as your shoulder and your trapezius in order to actually, you know, hold up your arm to be able to play, you know, the French grip and whatnot that you're trying to do. But what that's doing is that's helping to take out, you know, the other muscle groups that could be involved, like your tricep, bicep, and also just your full forearm and whatnot with your wrist. You're trying to limit it so that way, while trying to reach around and scratch your, you know, invisible friend's back and whatnot, you're utilizing only the twitch response muscles that are in your fingers. And after a while of a lot of practice, you can train so that way you can have your arms down here and, you know, do the French grip and whatnot if you want. Or if you're just used to playing with your arms out like that, you can train like that as well and you can play like that. That's fine. So while some people say it may seem counterintuitive to have your arms out like that while you're playing French grip, it's not really. There's nothing really wrong or bad about it. He was keeping very loose. His pressure swivel was very nice and clean. And basically with that pressure swivel, what he's doing is he's finding on that pedal board that sweet spot area where he can get the most bounce and rebound from his pedal. And you can achieve this the best if you have a high spring tension. And you can tell too, he also has his bass drum triggered out, so he probably has cranked up the tension on his batter side on his drum head, so that way he gets a little bit better of a rebound response. But yeah, a combination of all three of those, and then also finding that sweet spot so that way he can do the pressure swivel, ultimately that's going to lead to some really good results as far as like having a very nice fast pressure swivel. I personally don't do that technique myself. Usually I'm just like a straight regular ankle motion or full leg motion kind of person, but it's definitely really cool to see that he's got such a nice relaxed pressure swivel and it looks really nice and clean. When you're practicing stuff like that, just make sure that you're starting out slow, just memorizing the motions first and getting that instilled into your muscle memory before you really start trying to do it fast. Because ultimately you want to learn how to do this properly the first time around and not have to relearn it later on down the road because you learned it wrong the first time. So just make sure you're keeping that in mind when you're trying to do anything new with these drums. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal job. He has a very good sense of, you know, when to switch between his faster techniques and his slower techniques and whatnot as compared to like wrist motion, finger grip, or anything like that. Very well done job by Spencer's part. That is excellent, excellent stuff. And with all that being said, y'all, that's going to be the end of this video. So thanks everyone for tuning in and stopping by. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share your thoughts down below of what you thought of Spencer's playthrough. Don't forget to check out my channel and all the other videos we got on there. And with all that being said, y'all, that's the end of this video. So thanks for tuning in and stopping by. I will see you guys in the next video. So cheers and have a great rest of your night.